It started snowing in September. Those were gone. And yesterday,
my folks talked about being in Washington and it was snowing on the cherry blossoms in the spring. Go figure.
it was beautiful.
That's why I moved to Florida.
I don't like snow.
Charlie, I sent
What do you know about snow, Bob Weston?
I don't like snow.
I'll go check it, Linda. Thank you.
Look, Charlie, look.
Oh, cool. Cool. Well, if you folks don't like cold weather, Jacksonville is probably not the place in Florida to be.
By the way, for those that I don't see you, Happy New Year, everybody.
Thank you, Marcia. Same to you.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year,
Approved.
Happy New Year.
Okay, I'll see you. I'll see a couple of you in Galveston in a little while.
We'll be there. I'll be there, Marcia.
Okay, see you then.
Okay.
All right. So,
Hey, Charlie, no Spanish class today?
No, it's a break until January.
I just think it's funny you had that snowy scene behind you and you're sitting in a short sleeve t-shirt.
Yeah. By the way, Linda, it didn't come through my mail yet, into my inbox.
It's a text. I was sending my brother. I'll hold up this picture. Does anyone know what this is?
It looks like a check.
This, Michelle Steinfeld found this in a cookbook of her mother's. And what it is, if y'all are, I guess we're all old enough to know about blotters, ink blotters.
Yeah.
This was an ink blotter, and I have a feeling it may have been when my father opened his insurance agency. And it's April 1947. The phone number is 53278. Here in Jacksonville. That's the phone number. And it shows March and May, but April, you see in the middle, it's white. It's highlighted. And I've never seen this before. I have a lot of his advertising specialties, but I've never seen this. So I was very excited to get it. So I wanted my brother to see it.
Linda, I'm on my cell phone, and I don't. That's the trouble with these backgrounds. Anyway, I'm on my cell phone. I don't see it.
I'll send it to the email.
Okay. Here, this is better, Brad. This is outside of Quito at Mitad del Mundo, at the base of the Teleférico, the cable car up the 4,100 meter mountain, or 13,000 feet for Americans.
I bet it's chilly up there.
Actually, it's not. It's because Quito's on the Ecuador and it's in the Andes. It's a rather temperate climate year round. So it's about 24, 25, 26 all year round. And it's interesting because the sunrise and sunset's the same. The sun rises at 7 in the morning and sets at 7 at night.
I meant at the peak of the mountain there, because
Oh.
it's colder with altitude.
Oh, yeah. The only picture I have there was when you get to the top, okay, this is me walking on the equator, or trying to, yeah. This is Outdoor Museum. We got another picture there. I had to download this so people can see Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
Go going up the cable car, this is what it looks like going up the cable car. And this is from downtown, overlooking downtown Quito. There's a lookout, and this is overlooking downtown Quito, which is a beautiful city, just gorgeous. It's right in the Andes, and you get up in the morning and you look. Oh, okay. When you get to the top of the cable car, the mountain, this is what you see. You see this sign in the background that says you're 4,100 meters up. You see that there? 4,100 metros of altura, right there. And there's a place they sell for, I don't know, 50 cents, some brandy. Or maybe they give it to you. It's nominal fee or free. So, yeah.
Well, that's 13,451 feet.
Yeah. And the brandy is supposed to help you deal with the reduced oxygen. I was doing fine, but I took the brandy anyway because it's part of the deal. Why not, right?
Well, they say cocoa leaves work better. Coca tea.
When I was in South Jujuy, Argentina, on the border with Bolivia, the Indians came into the restaurant and they were selling bags of coca leaves for $1, and it smelled just like grass. So I didn't want to have trouble flying back to Buenos Aires. So I said to the guy at the desk at the hotel, I said, I'm flying back to Buenos Aires. I don't want to take this with me. So this is for you to fly while you're here. So it was, I put the leaves in my jaw and held it there for 30 minutes. It didn't do anything for me. So I guess if I was back up at 13,000 feet, that's when it would have made a difference. But the brandy was even better, I think. So
I never had tried coca tea, but a Bolivian friend of mine says that it's a common remedy for altitude sickness, and they offer it in the airport for people flying in from lower altitudes.
Where in La Paz or Sucre?
La Paz, I suppose.
Okay. Well,
Michael, are you ready? All right. Okay, you're about 2 minutes away. I want to thank Charlie and Brad for their introduction to drugs, South American drugs, and it's always good to start Shabbat morning with, in case you're,
it was the raw materials and it did nothing for me.
Well, you never know. You never know.
The brandy was a lot better.
I agree with you. I agree with you. But we're going to start in a couple seconds, about 2 minutes, about a minute and a half. It's almost 10:30 on a
Whole day.
yeah, Good
morning.
How's
Morning,
everybody?
Sheila.
Hope everybody's fine.
I was a little late this morning. I didn't wake up.
Oh, you did wake up.
I was wondering
Well, I
where
did.
you were.
Later than I normally do.
Well, it's a holiday, so it's Shabbat.
And it was cold.
There's the kicker. It's so hard to get out of bed when it's cold.
Well, I set my alarm, but I never turned it on. So might account for it. Hi, Michael. How are you? How's Deb?
Hanging in there.
Sorry to hear about him. Deb.
Thank you.
Hey, what else could go wrong this year?
Don't ask.
Be careful. Be careful.
Hi.
I
Ed.
just made a comment in the office this week about only losing one congregant in the last 2 months. And you saw how many condolence notices I sent out this week.
I know, it's amazing.
Always be careful what you say.
Amen. Mary Ellen, can I ask you a question real fast?
Yes, sir.
In the Shloshim on the yard site lift, there's a George, Piness. I pronounced it last night as Piness. Is that the correct pronunciation?
I don't know. I've never heard their name pronounced to me. So I'm not sure.
All right. Because there's also in the Mishaberach, let's say Tom Piness.
Right. It's the same family.
Oh, I gathered that.
Yeah, it's the same family. One had surgery and
all right.
And then his father passed.
Oh boy.
Rabbi, you could take off George Glossman off the Misha Berach list. He's fine. He asked when they dropped off food yesterday to come off that list.
I will take care of that. Thank you.
All right. Very
Okay.
good.
I'm going to meet. I'm sorry.
How did we do on the food drive?
Tremendous.
Really, really well. I'm going to mute everybody now. Rabbi and Mr. Kaur, if you would unmute yourselves before you begin.
Thank you. All right. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We're going to have a nice, quiet Shabbat morning, I hope. And we're going to start off. We're going to meet you on page 74. If you have the prayer book, get ready, Felice. This is your warning. And we're going to start off with a traditional little matovu. So on page 74, Kantor Kor, Bavakasha, Lahamshich.
Matovu, Matovu, Halecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael, Matovu, Matovu, Halecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael, Va'ani berov chastecha, avo veitecha, Eshtacha ve'elhecha kochecha, be'yiratecha, Matovu, Matovu, Halecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael, Adonai ahavti me'on beitecha, umekom mishkan kevodecha, mishkan kvodecha, va'ani eshtachavem v'yachram, Evracha lifnei Adonai osi, Matovu, Matovu, Halecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael, Va'ani tefilati lecha, Adonai et ratzon, Elohim berov chastecha, Elohim berov chastecha, Aneni be'emet ishecha, Matovu, Matovu, Halecha Yaakov, Mishkenotecha Yisrael.
Thank you, Mike. And we'll continue on the next page, or 76, 77, with the veins and arteries prayer, the prayer for the body, and which immediately leads up to page 78, the chanting of the Eloha Neshama. And again, a reminder that these two prayers link the body and the mind, very, very much in tune with Jewish tradition. So, Brad, do you have the book? Or do you have the book with you? You do not have the book with you. Okay. Linda, do you have the book with you? Cool. Could you give us the translation there on page 76, starting with praise to you, Adonai, our God?
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who formed the human body with skill, creating the body's many pathways and openings. It is well known before your throne of glory that if one of them be wrongly opened or closed, it would be impossible to endure and stand before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, who heals all flesh, working wondrously. Baruch atah Adonai, Rofei kol basar emafli la'asot.
Thank you. Thank you. And the Eloha Neshama on page 78.
Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata bihi tehorahi. Adon Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata bihi tehorahi. Atabarata, Ata Yetzarta, Ata Netafta bi, Beata Mishamera, Mishamera Bekirbi, Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata bihi tehorahi.
On page 80, the Nisim B'chol Yom. Are you guys prepared to do your usual? Michael, Ed?
Sure.
Take it away.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lasech vivina labhin ben yom uvein laila.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokei achivrim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurihim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rokah haaretz al hamayim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechin mitzadei gaver.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumihim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten le'ayev koach.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hama'avir shena me'enai utnuma me'afapai.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shasani b'tzelem Elohim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asani ben chorim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shasani Yisrael.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer Yisrael bigvura.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam otei Yisrael b'tifarah.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Amen.
And on page 87 in the prayer book, that little middle paragraph again, which speaks to so much of today. From the cowardice that shrinks from new truth, from the laziness that is content with half-truths, from the arrogance that thinks it knows all truth. O God of truth, deliver us. Blessed is Adonai, teacher of Torah to your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai hamilamei Torah le'amo Yisrael. And this very, very powerful prayer again, the Eile Devarim. Felice, do you have the book? Okay, could you give us the English translation on page 88 of the Eile Devarim prayer, the things that every single Jew is required to do? But unmute, go ahead.
I'm unmuted. Thank you, Mary Ellen. Thank you, Rabbi. Yes, it's my honor. These are things that are limitless, of which a person enjoys the fruit of the world, while the principle remains in the world to come. They are honoring one's father and mother, engaging in deeds of compassion, arriving early for study morning and evening, dealing graciously with guests, visiting the sick, providing for the wedding couple, accompanying the dead for burial, being devoted in prayer, making peace among people. But the study of Torah encompasses them all.
Thank you. And before we go to the to Psalm 100, and Michael, I'm going to ask us after we do 100 just to roll us right into Chatzi Kaddish, if that's okay. Felice, we did, for those of you, I don't know if everybody was on the Zoom service last night where we did a little bit of thing around Jewish humor. And we wanted to carry a little bit of that over to this morning. And Felice, go ahead. But you're muted, Felice. If it's going to be a great joke, you can't mute it.
Thank you, Mary Ellen. Yes, and thank you. Last night, because of those intermixed jokes, was so uplifting with the wonderful service. So here's my tiny little participation there. So the first Jewish president of the United States has been elected, and he's in office. And it comes to around February, and he calls his mother, who lives in New York still. And he says, Mom, my wife and I, we really want you to come for Passover. And he's in the White House, of course. And she says, I don't know. It's a big trip. And the airports and all that. He says, Mother, I'm the president of the United States. Air Force One will come and pick you up. You'll be escorted. You'll be comfortable. Everything will be wonderful. Please come. She says, well, all right, but I don't even know, staying in a hotel, Mother, I'm the president of the United States. You can sleep in the Lincoln bedroom. You're gonna be an honored guest. All right, I'll come. Thank you very much. I'll do it. And so she and her girlfriend are chatting the next day, and the friend says, so what are you doing for Pesach? The woman says, I'm gonna go to my son. The girlfriend says, oh, your son, the doctor? No, the other one. That's it. Thank you. That's it. Reminds me of my mother, bless her memory.
That's probably not so off. That's the problem. It's probably truer than we want to think. Page 100. Yes, whatever. Take it away. Psalm 150.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah el bekudsho, hallelujah birkia uzo, hallelujah bigurotav, hallelujah Kerov good Lord. Hallelujah, 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 betake shofar, hallelujah, never vechinor, hallelujah, betofu macho, Hallelujah, b'minim ve'ugav. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, betzilzle shama. Hallelujah, betzilzle truah. Kol hanshama tehallelujah, kol hanshama tehallelujah, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
And we're going to continue on page 106. You okay, Michael?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. Because if you need a break, just tell I have a sermon ready, and I would never leave home without one. On page 106, the Chatzi Kaddish, and we're just going to move from the Chatzi Kaddish right into the Baruch Hu. So as the Chatzi Kaddish ends, in body or spirit, I ask you to please rise for the Baruch Hu. Page 106, the Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדול ויקדש מהרבם.
Amen.
יאמר דברך יבטא וימליך מלכותי, בחיי חוני ומכון וחיי דכו בישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב ימרו. אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעולם עולם מהעמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי דקודשה בריחו, לעילם מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירם בעלמא ויאמרו
Amen. Page 108.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך, ברוך אדוני המבורך, המבורך לעולם ועד, המבורך, המבורך לעולם ועד.
And on page 110.
Trying to remember the tune.
That's okay. We'll do the English, go to the Yotes there. This is in the morning blessing, the morning in the intermediary between the Shema, the Baruch Hu and the Shema. This is the prayer that celebrates creation. The evening prayer, the Ma'ariv Arevim, celebrates the coming of the evening. Erev, the play on the word Erev, and this is the Yotzer, which means creation. Yotzer or Overei Choshech, who creates light and brings about darkness. So again,
I've got the tune if you want to do it.
Okay, see, that was called the rabbinic stall. We actually have a class in that. It helps people out. So go ahead.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Yotzer or v'rei choshech, oseh shalom shalom u'v'rei et hakol. Yotzer or v'rei choshech, oseh shalom shalom u'v'rei et hakol. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Yotzer or v'rei choshech, oseh shalom shalom u'v'rei et hakol. Yotzer or v'rei choshech, oseh shalom shalom u'v'rei et hakol.
This concept of creation, which leads into the Shema. And I wanted to offer this reading to you. It's a couple of new readings this morning. Actually, they're not new. This is from a book which you may have remembered. This is the High Holiday book for Rosh Hashanah. And there's so many readings in here we never get to. If you did all the readings in all the Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur book, we'd still be at High Holiday services. But this is a little meditation that'll lead us into the Shema. It goes like this. Blessed are the works of your hands, O Holy One. Blessed are hands that have touched life. Blessed are hands that have nurtured a child. Blessed are hands that have embraced with love and friendship. Blessed are hands that have planted new seeds. Blessed are hands that have harvested ripe fields. Blessed are hands that have cleaned, washed, mopped, and scrubbed. Blessed are hands that have held pain. Blessed are hands that have become knotty with age, and blessed are hands that are wrinkled and scarred from doing justice. Blessed are hands that hold the promise of the future. Blessed are the works of your hands, O Holy One. Page 114, the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Hashem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
Page 116, V'ahavta.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shiftecha bevetecha uvlechtecha v'aderech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam leot ayadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkaru ba'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim Liot lachem lelohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
The Micha Mocha, which we'll chant next, is again this story, this prayer of from the book of Exodus of liberation. And it really speaks to this idea of a gradual unfolding in many ways of a tomorrow. And liberating oneself from all kinds of enslavements, not only the physical threat of death as it appears in the book of Exodus, but a liberation from that which holds us, and really focuses us on what could possibly be in the future, and not only salvation, but fulfillment and progress. And this is a reading that I found that I wanted to share with you again from the Rosh Hashanah prayer book that really ties into the Micha Mocha, but ties in with this idea of transforming the world. We're in such a horrible situation right now with the pandemic, and we keep waiting and waiting and waiting for the vaccine and waiting for things to get back to a normal that probably will never, ever really return the way it was before March of this year. But this is a meditation that really speaks to the idea, very Jewish, that this is everything. Progress takes time, and it unfolds gradually. And behind that progress is this idea of faith in the future. So it goes like this. Once two sages were walking very early in the valley, and they saw the light of the morning star. Said one to the other, "This is how the redemption will be. The dawn breaks with a single ray of light, and bit by bit the sky is illumined, until morning comes and the darkness is gone. So the redemption will occur little by little, growing steadily and gradually until the world is full of light. Do not wait for a miracle or the sudden transformation of the world. Bring the day closer, step by step. With every act of courage, with every act of kindness, of healing and repair. Do not be discouraged by the darkness. Lift up every spark you can and watch the horizon for the coming of dawn. Look closely, for it has already begun." Yeah, great meditation. That's worthy of a whole class by itself. So next time you look at the dawn and that first ray of light, just think of that little meditation, that little modern midrash. That's how progress comes, with one little light, one little ray, spreading, spreading, spreading until the darkness is gone and the light of redemption comes. And that ties in, obviously, with this theme of Mi Chamocha on page 122.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים, לשמך אספת היום, יחד כולם הודו, והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם, לעולם ועד. צור ישראל, ומה בעזרת ישראל, ופדחן עמך, יהודה וישראל. גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו קדוש ישראל, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Saram, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora, Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Chastei Avot V'Imahot, U'Mevi Geula Livnei V'Nehem, L'Ma'an Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Yezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor leolam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atarav lehoshia, Mashiv haruach umorid hagashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Berachamim, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Samech noflim verofech holim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato, mishenei afar, michamocha ba'al gevurot, umido melach, melech memit, umechayem, umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah lahachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, mechayeh hakol. Nikadesh et shimcha ba'olam, Keshem shemakdishim oto b'shmei marom, Kakatov al yad nevi'echa, V'kara ze'el zeh ve'amar, Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzevaot, Meloch Kol haaretz, Kevodom. Adir, Adirenu Adonai, Adonenu Madir Shimcha B'chol haaretz, Baruch Kevod Adonai Mimkomom. Echad hu Eloheinu, hu Avinu, hu Malkeinu, hu Moshienu, v'hu Yashmienu, berachamav le'enei kochai. Ani Adonai Elohechem, yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohayich Zion, Ledor Vador, Hallelujah. Ledor Vador Nagid Gad Lecha, Ulenetzach Netzachim Kedushatecha Nahakdish, V'shivchacha Eloheinu mipinu lo yamush, Le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
Here's a little paragraph on page 133. Only like 4 sentences long. It's a very powerful little thought. We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. That little paragraph worthy of a whole sermon. For those of you who remember Ecclesiastes chapter 1, En chadash tachat hashemesh, there's nothing new under the sun. That what happens again. History does repeat itself. That's exactly what Ecclesiastes was talking about, exactly what this little paragraph talks about. It's in the context of the Amidah, all these prayers that talk about various things that are involved with us, from our ancestors to redemption to really gratitude and then peace. But this idea that we're part of something greater than ourselves, we don't talk about this enough, that we're not alone, that we are part of this flow of history. And I just wanted to share that with you because, sometimes we just skip over these prayers and we don't really take time to walk through them. And it's a very interesting little meditation, just one little paragraph and a little warning that if we're not careful, history does repeat itself. So we have to be careful. On page 132, Michael, do you want to do a Yismechu or a Vishamru? It's up to you.
Yismechu is good.
Okay, that sounds good to me.
Yismechu v'malechutecha, shomrei 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 Shabbat, v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha, shomrei 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 Shabbat, v'korei oneg Shabbat. Mikadashei Shavi Shabbat, Kulam Yisbeu V'yitangu mituvecham Shabbat, Yismechu v'malechutecham Shomrei 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 Shabbat, V'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecham Shomrei 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 Shabbat, V'korei oneg Shabbat. V'hashvihi ratzita bo v'kidashto Shabbat, Chendad yamim oto karata Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecham Shomrei 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 Shabbat, V'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecham Shomrei 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 Shabbat, V'korei oneg Shabbat. Zecher lema'aseh v'reishit Shabbat. Zecher lema'aseh v'reishit Shabbat Yismechu V'malechutecha Shomrei Shabbat V'korei oneg Shabbat Yismechu V'malechutecha Shomrei Shabbat V'korei oneg Shabbat Eloheinu Ve'Elohei Avotenu Ve'imotenu Retzei b'mnuchatenu Kadeshenu b'mitzvotecha V'tein chelkenu b'toratecha Sabenu mituvecha V'samchenu b'shuatecha V'tahel libeinu le'ovdecha be'emet V'hancheleinu Adonai Eloheinu B'ahava uvratzon Shabbat kodshecha V'yanuchu v'Yisrael Mekadeshei shemecha Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Thank you, Michael. So you all were talking before, I think before Torah study, and this about it's so cold, and Charlie has this thing with snow. It's Toronto. I know it had snowed in Toronto because I spoke to my sister-in-law. She was hunkered down because it was snowing. So this is from last night, which we didn't have time to get into, but it's about snow in the village of Chelm. So if you remember from last night, Chelm is this village where strange things happen. So one Friday afternoon, the first heavy snowfall of the year occurred in Chelm, and the inhabitants rejoiced to see the lovely white blanket covering the rutted streets of the city. But a sad note was struck by the rabbi. The shamus will soon be passing through the town to call on the people to prepare for the Shabbat. He will leave ugly tracks in the beautiful snow when he walks on it. At once, the 7 elders of the city agreed. Were called into session. The 7 elders were called into session to solve this dilemma. The snow, they agreed, must be kept trackless no matter what. But how to prevent the good shamus from tracking it up? As might have been expected, the wise old rabbi again rose to the occasion. I have it, he cried. He cried triumphantly, I've got the answer. He explained his idea to the council, and they agreed to the plan with shouts of joy. And so, when the shamus finally started on his rounds, he was made to stand on a table that he might not make tracks in the pretty snow. In accordance with the rabbi's scheme, the table was carried through the town by the 7 council members. Another visit to the wonderful village of Chelm. All they needed was peace. So on page 140, the Sim Shalom.
Sim Shalom, Tova Uvracha, Chen v'chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim aleinu, v'al kol Yisrael, Amecha, Borcheinu Yotzreinu Kulanu Keechad Meor Panecha Ki V'yor Panecha Natata Lanu Adonai Eloheinu Sim Shalom Tova Uvracha Chen v'chesed v'rachamim v'rachamim aleinu V'al kol Yisrael Amecha, Torah Chaim ve'ahavat chesed Utzedaka uvracha v'rachamim v'chaim v'shalom sim shalom tova uvracha chen v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael amecha v'tov b'einecha v'vorech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol eit u'v'chol shalom b'shlomecha sim shalom tova u'bracha ein v'chesed v'rachamim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael amecha Baruch atah Adonai Hamevorech et amo Yisrael b'shalom.
Thank you, Michael. We pause for a few moments of silent meditation, personal prayer.
Ose shalom b'bramav, u'ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen.
Ya'aseh shalom.
Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Ya'aseh shalom, Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimaru amen.
Seder Kriyat Torah begins on page 244. Now, I have no Torah here at the apartment, and obviously, unless Michael or somebody else has a Torah lying around your house right now, we're going to have to do a little bit of surgery on the Torah reading, but we will do the Torah reading. So I'll tell you what, Michael, can you just give us a little bit of Ein Kamocha, and then we'll just flow right into Shema and Gadlu, and then return for the Barachot. And let's see, we'll need a volunteer to do the Barachot for before and after the Torah reading. So you think about it, and that volunteer will be waiting for us when we meet on the other side of the Ein Kamocha. Okay, Michael? On page 244 is where Seder Kriyat Torah begins.
Ein kamocha ba'Elohim Adonai, v'ein k'ma'asecha, malechutecha malechut kol olamim, u'memshaltecha bechol dor v'hador. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch, le'olam vo'ed. Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. Avar lachamim, hetiva birsohoncha et Zion, תבנה חומות ירושלים, תבנה חומות ירושלים, כי בך לבד בטחנו, מלך ערום ונישא אדון עולמים. כי מציון תצא תורה, כי מציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני מירושלים. ברוך שנתן תורה התורה, ברוך שנתן תורה התורה, לעמו ישראל מקדושתו. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. אחד אלוהינו, גדול אדוננו, קדוש שמו. גדלו לאדוני איתי, ונרוממו שמו יחדיו. לכל אדוני הגדולה והגבורה והתפארת והנצח וההוד, כי כה בשמיים ובארץ, כי כה בשמיים ובארץ. לכל אדוני הממלכה, מימית נעשה לכל ראש.
So, how many of you, there's only a couple of us. How many of you were not, is anybody not a Torah study earlier? All of you were not. Okay. We had Sheila, right. And whoever you are in the red blouse, because there's no name on your little Zoom box. So you're like anonymous, which is okay, but that's fine. Oh, hi. Nice to see you, Danielle. So we spent a little time talking about, this is a great Torah portion. It's one of my favorites, not only because it has lots of drama, because on December the 27th, 1957, I had to stand on the beam of Temple Judea and on North Broad Street in Philadelphia and do this because it was my bar mitzvah. And afterwards, we had this lavish spread in the social hall that my mother and my Aunt Rose catered. This was before the days of the poof bar mitzvahs with the dancing girls and the gorillas and the now they're troops. Bar mitzvahs have gotten very, very much out of hand since the old days. Synagogues now have these bar mitzvah forums or fairs where you come and the vendors who make a living on entertaining bar and bat mitzvahs display their wares, and everything from dancing girls, and I'm not making this up because there was actually a group performing in my old synagogue and trying to get people to anyway, it's become obscene, to put it bluntly, and very expensive. But in the old days, in 1957, my Aunt Rose and my mom, they made the whole thing in the social hall of Temple Judea. It was nice. So Vayigash is this lovely passage with the reunion of the brothers and the idea of Joseph revealing himself to his brothers. And as we talked about an hour ago, the theology behind this, that God is part of this. And so just a little bit of the reading of this very, very significant passage where Joseph sends everybody away. He confronts his brothers. He reveals himself, Ha'od Avichai, and then explains, don't worry, brothers. I know what you did to me was wrong, but God is behind this, and it's all going to be for part of God's plan. So do we have a volunteer to lead us in the Torah Blessings? If not, well, go ahead, Danielle. Very good. Torah Blessings are on page 250 on the prayer.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you and the dog.
The beagle. Okay. Yes, he's very religious. There's a joke about that somewhere.
Is the beagle going to chant the blessings? Because if he
There's a
is,
joke. Yeah.
I want to record this because nobody's going to believe it.
Well, the joke about that is the beagle doesn't chant the blessings, and then you ask about the odds for Yom Kippur. But at any rate, Baruch Hu Adonai Habarach.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Very nice. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you. Thank you very much. So the Hebrew goes like this. It's a very, very beautiful Hebrew. It's from chapter 45. V'lo yachol Yosef lehitapech l'chol hanitzavim alav vayikra hotzeti kol ish ma'alev v'lo amid ish ito. Nobody stood with him. Behit vada Yosef el achiv, and Joseph was looking at his brothers. Vayiten et kolo bivchei vayishma'u Mitzrayim vayishma beit paro, and he was crying bechi, tears. Vayomer Yosef el achiv, ani Yosef ha'od avichai, v'lo yochlu echav la'avonot oto, ki nivhalu mipinav. Vayomer Yosef el achiv, keshuna elai. V'yigashu v'yomer ani Yosef achichem asher mechartem oti Mitzrayimam, who you sold. Mechar is the Hebrew word to sell, who you sold into Egypt. V'ata al ta'atzvu v'al yichar be'enechem ki mechartem oti hine ki limchila Shalchani Elohim lifnechem ki zeh shenatayim hara'av bekerev haaretz v'od chamesh shanim asher ein charish v'kitzar vayishlachani Elohim lifnechem vasum lachem she'erit be'eretz ul'hachayot lachem Lifleita Gdola Va'ata Lo Atem Shalachtem Oti Hine Ki Elohim Vayisimeni La'av Lifaro Ula Adom Ulchobeit Umishel Bechol Eretz Mitzrayim. Joseph said to his brothers, he revealed himself as is my father well? Is my father alive? Is he still living? And he said, come here to me. It's the same word as the beginning of the portion, Vayigash, Geshun, it's the imperative. And they came forward and he said, look, I'm your brother who you sold, but don't worry, don't be distressed. God was behind this. It was to save life that God sent me ahead of you. It's now 2 years that there has been famine, and there's going to be 5 more years to come. God sent me here to ensure your survival on earth. There's a plan, God's plan, and to save your lives in an extraordinary deliverance. And so it was not you who sent me here, but God. And he has made me a father to Pharaoh, Lord of all his household, and ruler over the whole house of Egypt. It's a very, very powerful passage filled with the theology of the Bible, as we talked about, and that was the translation of that. Don't worry, this was all part of God's plan. Okay, Danielle, the blessing after the reading.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen. Thank you very much. Thank you. What's the dog's name?
Luke. He came
Luke?
with the name.
Luke is in Luke Skywalker?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Excellent. As opposed to the gospel writers, I'll give you Luke Skywalker.
Well, he came with the name. He'd been Luke for a year, so we kept him Luke. So
That's a nice name. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a good name. The Misha Berach prayers we talked about last night, these prayers now have become so important, given the fact that there's so many people who are dealing with so many different types of illness. And so when the prayer asks in the translation that people be granted a renewal of body and spirit and mind. It's a great word, renewal. There's a lot of people whose body, whose spirit, whose soul is in need of renewal because of the pandemic. The mental health issues are exploding, as you see in the news all the time. The constant body count on the news of death, the impact of all these things, all these deaths on families and individuals. Never before, perhaps in our lifetime, have these prayers for healing been more necessary, more important. And so when we say Mishaberach Avotenu V'imatenu, the pray for the healing, we call upon our ancestors and the spirit and the belief in God to bring about a refuat hanefesh and a refuat haguf, a healing of the body and a healing of the soul. In this congregation in Avah Chesed, these names are now brought forth publicly for healing. Carol Babcock, Malcolm Bloom, Philip Bloom, Rosalie Teddy Bono, George Caballero and family, Dr. David Cassius, Stuart Cohen, Tom Davis, Art Fields, Bob Flynn, Mary Hartman, Irene Jacobs, Margie Jacobs, Judy and Ben Jacobson, Kimberly Janis, Robert Kay, Marilyn Levitt, Teresa Levy, Roseanne Macon, Barbara McDonald, Gary Nadler, David Osofsky, Laura Osofsky, Marilyn Pankin, James Penson, Tom Pines, Laura and Laney Pinar, Buddy Pollock, Jean Posen, Randall Rout, Marlene Reb, Sandra Reznikoff, Ida Richin, Anita Richin, Alex Rosen, Lori Ann Paul Rothstein, Stephanie Sibilia, Ruthie Silver, Jan Smith, Bob Tews, Bernice Tobias, Ruth Van Alstine, Judy Van Gorder, Joan Waits, Carolyn Wink, Susan Wolf, Nathaniel Asher Ben Yitzchak, Devorah Bat Rochel, Bess Safer, Mark Travis, Thomas Christie. And do we have other names that you would like to add here? Sarah Pinshaw, Lori Curlin, Bruce Emanuel, Bobby Miller. For those we have named in public, for those we continue to name in the privacy of our own hearts and souls, we ask you to join with Michael in the Mishaberach.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor habracha Li'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach Imotenu Mekor habracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We're going to conclude this section of the service and moves right into Aleinu and the meditation before Kaddish. We're going to start that on page 252 with the Etz Chaim roll of Zod HaTorah, rather, Etz Chaim, roll into the Aleinu and the V'nei Amar, okay? So we'll meet you on page 252. And as we get to the Aleinu, which is on page 282, I'll ask you to please rise. So on page 252, the Zod HaTorah. Go ahead, Michael.
זאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. יהללו את שם אדוני כי נשכחו שמו לבדו. הודו על ארץ ושמיים וירם קרן לעמו. תהילה לכו חסידיו לבני ישראל עם קרובו. הללויה, הללויה. עץ חיים היא למחזיקים בם ותומכך מאושר דרכם דרכי נועם וכל נתיבותיך שלום. השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה חדש חדש ימינו חדש ימינו כקדם.
Page 282, page 282.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
I'm going to ask you if you can, just I got to fix my little thing here. Here we go. Trying to juggle too many things at the same time in a very tight space is not a recipe for working out. And this is a meditation before Kaddish. It's not in the prayer book. I just found this and I wanted to share it with you because I think it renders up memories. You know, that idea of memory we've talked about even in the humor last night and this morning. A couple of you mentioned that we were talking about some of these humorous stories and jokes that triggered a memory of a mom or family or dad or something. And memory is very powerful. And then we get to this point of the service, which talks about memory and remembering those people who have passed away either recently or yard sites of them. This is a meditation from, well, it's one of the rabbi manuals that all of us collect in this, but just I think it's a very lovely little meditation, and just let the words speak to you in this moment of memories, which we remember people who are no longer here. The happiness that was shared when they walked among us, what joy when loving and loved we lived our lives together. Months or years may have passed, yet we feel near to them. Our hearts yearn for them. Though the bitter grief has softened, a duller pain remains for the place where they once stood is empty now forever. The links of life are broken, but the links of love and longing cannot break. We see them now with the eye of memory, their faults forgiven, their virtues grown larger. So does goodness live and weakness fade from sight. We remember them with gratitude and bless their names. And we remember as well the men and women who but yesterday were part of the congregation and all of the community. To all who cared for us and labored for the well-being of our people and of humanity, we pay tribute. May we prove worthy of carrying on the tradition of our people and our faith, for now the task is ours. In gratitude for all the blessings our loved ones, friends, teachers, and the martyrs of our people have brought to us, to our people Israel, and to all humanity, we now dedicate ourselves anew to the sacred faith for which they lived and died, and to the tasks they have bequeathed to us. Let them be remembered for blessing, O God, together with the righteous of all peoples. As we say, Amen, may their memory be a blessing forever. It's a lovely little meditation. In that spirit of memory, in that spirit of remembering and carrying on that legacy, we recall the names of those who have been taken from the midst of this congregational family, and for whom Shiva is being observed. Rosella Schiff, Alan Setzer, Ann Young, Ed Booth, Stephen Schulman, Paul Rothstein, and a colleague, Rabbi Dr. Raphael Goldstein. We recall those person who's that individual for whom Shloshim is being observed, George Pines, and the names of those, the anniversary of whose passing is observed in this congregational family on this Shabbat: Lorraine Ash, Ginger Bailey Begun, Samuel Berlin, Emmanuel Mon Bloomfield, William Herman Dorman, Louis Frayden, Herbert Goldberg, Dr. Earl Horowitz, Fanny Levin, Dee Levine, Minnie Manasseh, Jack Markowitz, Joan Marin, Jack Nebrat, Edward Simeon Rubin, Aaron Sharman, Celie Shostak, Francis Simon, Irene Wedelis Stanley, Rebecca Tucker, Brent M. Turbo, Ron Weil. We have other names that you would like to bring forth. Those we have named, I don't see anybody else. So we remember the names we have said publicly, and of course hold very, very close all those names from our own personal family, our friends who we still hold in the privacy of our own hearts and souls. And in keeping with that memory, we join together as a community. Ask you to please rise in body or spirit as we pray these traditional words together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemed rabbah, v'yama divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon uv'yomechon v'chayeh dekol beit Yisrael, v'galav v'zman kari v'imru amen, yehei shemed rabbah mevarach l'olam olamei olamaya, yitbarak v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitolal shemed kudishah, b'richu. Le'elo min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechamata, damiram v'yama v'imru, amen. Yehei shalom rabbo min shemayim, v'chaim yalenu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Osei shalom b'mramav, v'ya'asei shalom alenu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, as we say together, amen. And you may be seated as we close. Michael, from your greatest hits CD.
Yes, that's right.
What have you chosen?
The number one on the hit parade is Adon Olam.
We can name that tune and go ahead. You know, they're bringing that show back.
Asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivram le'nasa b'chetzo kol azai melech shemo nikra v'acharei kichlot hakol levado yimloch noram v'hu haya v'hu hovem v'hu yiyeh b'tif'ara v'hu echad sheni lechamshir lo lehachbira b'li reshit b'li tachlit v'lo ha'os v'hamisra v'hu eli v'chai goali v'tzor chavli b'esaram v'hu nisi umanos li menat kosi b'yom ekra b'yaro afkid ruchi Me'eti shan v'ayiram v'imruchi geviyati Adonai li v'lo ira.
Now, by some stretch of the imagination, do you have the sacred wine and challah in front of you?
I do.
Oh my God, who couldn't have planned it any better?
Absolutely.
Thank the Lords. Go ahead. Just give us a quick Kiddush and Motzi, and we'll. Oh, that's a nice challah. Did you make that?
No.
Go ahead.
Came Berach Adonai et Yom HaShabbat vayikadshehu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Borei peri agav.
Amen. L'chaim. L'chaim. And if you'll lead us in that looks like a great challah. Yeah, great sandwich. Go ahead.
Motzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Motzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael. Deb, condolences continue. Take care. Mary Ellen, thank you for hosting us. You're fantastic. And to all of you, listen, everybody, just stay safe, stay healthy. I know it's supposed to be chilly and down here, but that's okay. And dress warm. Just stay safe, stay healthy, stay out of trouble. Take care. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Shabbat shalom. Enjoy.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Thank you, everybody, for helping. Thank you, Danielle.
Shabbat shalom.
Bye-bye, guys.
Take care, Ron and Barbara. Shabbat shalom.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Have a beautiful day, Felice.
Take care, Mary Ellen.
Take care, Sheila. Have a good Shabbat.
You too, and a happy New Year.
I unmuted you now, Felice. You were talking.
Oh, sorry. Yes. How did Shelby like her surprise?
Her surprise.
Oh, it wasn't a surprise. The gift, the Christmas gift of the lotions.
Oh, I told her she had to now let me get mine back because she's been borrowing mine, and it was wrapped in that stocking under the tree all this time. And every time she would borrow, she says she only borrowed it once, but I'm sure she borrowed it.
Oh, that's adorable.
I would look at that stocking under the tree, but she didn't get it until this week, and she was excited.
I'm delighted.
She's going to esthetician school.
Yes, you said.
I told you that. And so we bought her a lot of things to make house calls for facials and massages. And
oh,
Nice.
Isn't that lovely?
yeah, because she's going to be working on a professional basis with it soon. So
Good for her.
So we bought her also a lot of things to get her started with that, a case on wheels to carry all of her product and makeup and everything with her. And we bought her a towel warmer.
Oh, how lovely.
And then my mom and dad bought her a facial steamer. So she can, once she's certified, she can make house calls to clients. And so she can do it on the side as well as work in a shop, and build her own clientele that way.
That is wonderful. May I call you privately later or like in 10 minutes? Or if you're busy, I can talk to you during the week.
Yeah, I'd rather wait until the week my husband and them are waiting for me to
Sure.
come hang out with them and
Sure.
plan what we're going to do.
Absolutely. Thank you for everything. I hope your Christmas was wonderful. And I have some thoughts I would love to add to that when you have time.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I would love to hear because you're in the business yourself. So she probably could benefit from any tips you have.
That would be wonderful. So have a beautiful, beautiful day and weekend. And thank you for all you do for me and for
Yeah.
everybody.
And
yes,
now,
yeah, Sheila,
I'm
Sheila and I are.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure. I enjoy my job. Oh, so much. I can't even tell you.
You are so loved, Mary Ellen.
Please.
Yes,
I have a question for you.
yes,
The lipstick that I used to love,
Yes.
Downtown Brown.
yes.
Discontinue that one.
Yeah, I don't think it's available anymore, but we don't want to keep Mary Ellen right now. But if you
Okay.
want, I'll contact you. We could find something similar if you like. But I don't want to keep this beautiful woman from her
Okay.
family. But thank you, Sheila.
Enjoy.
Be well.
You too.
Shabbat
should
shalom,
I-
ladies. I'll
should I
see you soon.
Yes. Should I call you, Sheila? Call you
Yes,
privately?
please.
I will. Thank you. Be well. Bye-bye.
Right.
You too, sweetie. Bye.